Hi, my name is Kelisa Bass, and I'm the author of the published book Behind Closed Doors. I'm also a speaker. I meet many people who ask me, "What is your book about?" And my answer is, it's an autobiography about my life. And what do you speak about? My answer is the same. It's an autobiography about my life. My life as an abused child, abused physically, sexually, mentally, emotionally. My life as a child when I watched my mom get shot at 7 years old. My life as a child when I watched my brothers go through unbelievable abuse. My life as a child when I was 9 years old and me and my mother agreed to enter into an attempted murder plot to kill my stepfather. My life when my mother sold me for drugs. My life when I went to foster care after my mom went to prison and I was abused by my foster mother's son-in-law, and the social worker wanted me to keep it a secret because she was best friends with my foster mother, and she didn't want anyone to know so that she wouldn't lose her license. My life when I ran away from foster care and became pregnant and was recruited in the midst of all that into a religious cult. The things that happened to me there under the angst of looking for and being naive to the fact that people will take advantage of you based on the fact that you are naive and you don't understand what's going on. Like there were many things in life that happened to me during that time. There was rape, there was abuse, there was incest I knew about, there were killings I knew about, there was a lot of things going on in that religious cult that I knew about. Those are the things that I talk about in my book. See, I listen to Les Brown. I've been listening to him for a couple of years. And he says all the time, I don't know who you are, you don't know who I am. But what I do know is that you have greatness inside of you. And while I was going through my experiences of trying to commit suicide, almost becoming an alcoholic, and going through domestic violence, I realized that the greatest asset to my life or in my life was my pain. And why do I say that? Because an asset is something that someone owns or controls with the benefit or the expectation of something benefiting them in the future. And I had to realize that that was my benefit to my future, is that I had a story to tell. Everyone has a story to tell. You have a story to tell. Everyone has a story to tell. And you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. And I had to realize that no matter the fact that I didn't have supportive family members or people didn't believe in my dream, it's my dream. And it's what I have to offer to someone else. See, my pain that I've experienced means that I can help someone else. And that's the reason why it becomes an asset. See, you don't have to know how it's going to work out, how it's going to pan out. You don't have to know that. You have to understand that you cannot look at your current circumstance and situation to understand how the outcome is going to come, but how outcome is going to become. But you do have to realize that you have a dream, you have a goal. See, my therapist believed in me, and at some point I had to believe in her belief in me in order to get started. Now, I was in a relationship that was very abusive, very non-supportive of my dreams. And I had to say to myself, this is your story. You're writing your story. You're telling your story. And I had to get out so that I can find out who I was, so that I can be the greatest me that I could ever be. See, I come from a city of Ypsilanti, a small city, Ypsilanti, Michigan. Ypsilanti made the number in the list of number 10 cities in the state of Ypsilanti, they made it in that list as one of the major cities that homicide was present. Murders were present in that city. And though I had my little sister, my little brother, my big brother, my mother, they all passed away. They're all gone. And I felt alone a lot of times. That's pain. Pain that I could use for someone else. Because someone else is out there. And someone else is out there saying, I can't do this. This is too much for me. But I had to realize that the pain that I went through is the pain that I could use to help someone else. So what is your pain? What is your pain? What is whatever it is that you've gone through that can help someone else? The domestic violence that I went through. When I was pushed out of a vehicle. When I had popped a 32-ounce cup of soda with ice in it thrown in my face by someone who said they loved me. What is it that I went through that I can help someone else? There are millions of women that go through domestic violence, that have gone through abuse, that have gone through child abuse. I'm not the only one. But my story can reach out and help someone else. But you have to get started. And once you get started, you will realize all the things that can come to you in reference to being able to help someone else. Because that's what it's really all about. You're here for a job. See, I thought that I was destined to be a hair braider because I've been braiding since I was 8 years old. Thought I was destined to be a hair braider, and that's what I pursued. I had a hair braiding school, I had a hair braiding academy, I had a hair braiding salon, I had a beauty supply store. That's not what I was destined to be, because at some point it stopped there. It didn't go any further. What are you here for? Are you here to help someone else in whatever you've gone through? Realize that everyone is put here for a reason. And your reason may not be my reason. You may not agree with what I'm doing, but what's important is what you're here for. See, the kind of mind that I have, I think that the abusive relationships that I went through, if they would step out of their comfort zone and think to themselves, okay, I've been abusive. What can I do with this that can help someone else? And say, okay, I was abusive. Maybe I can do a one-on-one how not to be abusive. Or maybe parents out there can do a one-on-one for dummies, how not to be an abusive parent. See, it's everything that you experience can be a benefit or an asset to you. See, my pain that I've experienced in my life is my greatest asset to me. And so I take that, and that's why I write about it. I speak about it because it's what works for me. And you just have to get started. I listened to Les Brown, like I've said before, and I've listened to him for many years. But you have to take yourself out of your comfort zone and get started somewhere. Doesn't matter if you understand where you're starting, just get started somewhere. Make the calls, talk to people, email, do whatever you need to do to get out there. Your whole presence should be to do what I showed up to do. And you have to say to yourself, regardless of what anybody else thinks, I've got this. I got this. I can do this. And I'm going to do this. So my message is to find out what your greatest asset in your life is, what you can do to benefit someone else or to help someone else. I'm Kelisa Bass, the author of the book Behind Closed Doors, and I am going to make a movie. So these are things that I am passionate about doing. So I'm so passionate about it that I put myself in an uncomfortable position where people have to hear what I'm saying. You have to know where I'm going because I'm going to take you along the journey. And that's what you have to realize, that No one stops you. You stop yourself. It took me 7 years to write my book because I let other people tell me you shouldn't do that, or you should just let that go, or you shouldn't say this about this, that, and the other. That's not what I wanted to do. That's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to speak about it. I'm going to speak about the abuse. I'm going to speak about the domestic violence. I'm going to speak about the child abuse, because it's a way to release and let go. What are you letting go? What are you going through? What is it that you can provide the millions of people who are out there that are going through what you have already gone through and triumphantly gone through? What is it that you can do to help someone else? And that's what the ultimate goal is. Realize your greatness within you. My greatness is the fact that I am pursuing to get out there in the world and let people know that there's a victor inside of you that is waiting to be released. You just have to be reminded. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to me and supporting me, and I appreciate all the support that I've received from my family and friends and from people all over the world. I thank you. And until next time, remember, you are not a victim. You are and have always been the victor. You just have to be reminded.